'Tis me again, Lee Benson, reading from my new novel called A Brush with Paradise, which primarily takes place in the Caribbean. Lots of islands. So see if you can find which ones they are if you're reading the book. If you do, let me know. This is chapter 16, and it's called Doubly Useful. It's a bit raunchy, so if you're very woke or very none too pleased with what might go on, just press silent till you get to the end, okay? And if not, sit back, pour a drink and enjoy. Doubly Useful, chapter 16. Let's go fishing. It's a perfect day for the fish. The sky says so. George often spouted out random predictions, part of her natural charm or mystical finesse, as others suggested. The sky was a beautiful, blue, clear, with not a cloud to be seen. It wasn't difficult to get used to, I assure you. Somewhere in the back of my mind was the realization that this paradise wouldn't last forever, and one day it would all end either back in Blighty, no less, or somewhere else with shitty weather. I parked that thought and agreed. Mind you, I wasn't really into small boats. I remember once being invited by a customer to, as he put it, have some fun on the America's Cup in the Solent. His friend's son was a captain on the America's Cup 3. Basically, it was a long white racing yacht with a central mast and wires which ran along the deck. There were winches named coffee grinders, and you had to turn whichever way the captain ordered, hence a coffee grinder. It hadn't taken me long to realise that with my limited knowledge of sailing from watching TV, the boat leant and turned often. Often one side carved its way through the sea as the water lapped the deck. Can you hear that? Helicopters, birds, parakeets, and I'm trying to read. I shall continue. It hadn't taken me long, I repeat, to realise that with my limited knowledge of sailing from watching TV, that boats leant and turned often. Often one side carved its way through the sea as the water lapped the deck. The boat had no guide rails, and I deduced that from the position in the middle of the deck, I wouldn't get swamped. The instructions were clear. A mistake might split the hull and sink the yacht. Most participants took the positions along the sides of the boat because of the view. I was proven correct. We travelled up to 14 knots, which was fast. The captain spun his wheel and half the left side of the boat submersed, and I remained dry. Some of the other crew members were half soaked. My mind reconfigured. George, what sort of boat is it? It's a nice boat to fish and tootle along in. Worry not. She'd read my mind again. We drove down to the bay where several small boats lay loosely tied to their moorings. The odd gentle wave caressed the sleeping boats. George had already rallied a few friends to join the fishing party. I noticed nobody had rods. There was a few hampers, several bottles of rum wrapped in straw. That's different, methought. We loaded the boat. She measured about 14 feet in length with a large outboard engine. Just my sort of safety zone. I felt easier as I limbered aboard. George passed me a hamper and then told me to sit and behave. Like, what was there to do to misbehave? There were 6 of us. We introduced ourselves, and when everything was loaded, which included a couple of harpoons, George fiddled with the engine, and she started off with a puff of white smoke. The water was so clear, you could even see the bottom. Fish swam by, and everything was good. And after bobbing along for a half hour or so, George cut the engine. Fish time! I feel it. The 2 chaps unravelled a few balls of string with hooks attached and dropped them over the side. The women busied themselves and unpacked a couple of hampers. You couldn't see the bottom anymore. I noticed a large black object as it slowly swam its way towards our boat. Excuse me, is that a shark I see? I tried not to sound too concerned. Yeah, man, it's a nursery shark. It won't kill you, but don't put your feet over the side, said Isaac. Them scales can rip the skin off you easy as a brush by. Nice, I gulped, as I remembered my walk on water moments previously. Yes, I had heard that. Well, at least it don't eat you, I gave a muffled chuckle. Me go get some conch, said Gabrielle, as he as he grabbed one of the harpoons. And that's without a drink. His friend Chaz took the other. Hello, sharks are about, is that wise? I said, a tad concerned for my fellow man. Don't you be worrying, my man. You're no bothered by a shark, said Gabriel's woman. The sun reflected and sparkled from her gold front tooth, which dazzled me. George put her arm out and mumbled something untranslatable. Shark no bother, sea good, fish for us blessed be. And everyone said, Amen. The fish did bite, and Chaz's partner Lily lifted the catch on board, destined for a lazy barbecue as a reward. Gabrielle and Chaz returned with 4 harpoon conch and several parrotfish. We headed back to the shore and grounded the boat on the stunning pink-shelled beach. It was paradise, with palm trees acting as guards over the pristine sands. A funny thought flashed by, that Gabrielle was so aptly named. Paradise, eh? We loaded the boat and all just chilled in real Caribbean fashion. Never one for not having a small sketchbook about me, I wandered off and found a secluded, shady place to sketch. You know, I could have easily stayed there, unless you added the reality of life, which sadly always stepped in the way. George appeared. She had a feline quality about her. Let me see what you all about. She glanced over my shoulder. What do you reckon? I asked, as I knew she would comment. I thought I had you squared when you arrived, but that wasn't the answer that I had expected. Lizzie always have her way, and then she'd discard men like used trainers. What you say? She stood in front of me. What do I say about what? Lizzie, or you stood in front of me, or perchance my sketch of this stunning beach? Me. I think we have something to discuss. She lifted her skirt, straddled me, and began to grind away. Bloody hell, are you okay? She didn't stop. It appeared that George knew exactly what she wanted after all. Couldn't be better, she said. Welcome to paradise. I didn't object. George certainly took control. She knew how to maneuver the joystick and continued till she shuddered without uttering a single word, not even a purr. She flicked her hair, stood up and said, Time to eat. I felt like I'd been treated to a starter, main course and exquisite dessert already. I'll continue this in part 2.